Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
You know, one of the things that human beings underestimate dramatically is their capacity to get great at something if they're totally immersed in it, totally laser focused on something. You are way more powerful than you know you are if you went crazy, psycho, obsessed, laser focused on anything, even something you're totally ill-prepared for. Humans have an unreal capacity to get great at things, even if they don't have a natural talent for it, if they're immersed in it, and to learn something and acquire a ton of knowledge in a short period of time as well. Because the truth of the matter is, in society today, society is conspiring all the time in our culture to completely distract you so you never win. To just divert your focus and attention. Look over here, look at this shiny thing, look at this TV show, look at this sports team, worry about what's going on here in this war. And they get these different things on television and our phones and in our lives to just get us distracted so we never get obsessed, we never get laser focused for an extended period of time. Ask yourself truthfully, your big goals and dreams, are you really clear on what they are? You know how mandatory it is to be clear and specific for what you want, right? But then the next layer is this. Can you get laser obsessively focused almost to its exclusivity, almost, but for an extended period of time? Can you honestly say you've done that for an extended period? I'm talking about a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even a decade, towards something you want so badly. You want it like oxygen. It's like you want it like you want to eat. You want it like you want to live, right? Well, are you extendedly laser focused on it, or do you get distracted easily? Our obsessions become our possessions, but we won't possess them if we're not truly obsessed. I bet there's been a person in your life you've been obsessed with. If you're over 20 years old, listen to this, more than likely you've had somebody you were pretty obsessed with, haven't you? That you wanted in your life, you wanted to date, you wanted as a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a significant other. How many times a day did you think about them? How many times a day did they distract you from what you were doing with just the thought of them? In other words, this is what I want you to understand. When you're laser obsessed focused, your obsession distracts you from what you're currently doing, not the other way around. You're not really obsessed with it if you're easily distracted from it. This is so important. You right now can test whether it's your obsession with whether it distracts you constantly. The first thing you think of when you wake up, last thing before you go to bed. When you have a big laugh, it comes up. When you cry, it comes up. When you're watching TV, it comes up. When you're doing your regular job, but it's your side hustle, it comes up. You can't stop thinking about it. It distracts you from the rest of your life. That's what an obsession does. When it's not really your obsession, the rest of your life distracts you from it. And so the it in your life is so important. But there's all these things that distract us today. I'm going to give you a recommendation. Turn your damn TV off. Turn the radio off most of the time. Turn your phone off a lot too. So here's the deal. The TV's competing constantly to distract you with stuff that really doesn't matter. And I'm not saying, by the way, don't be informed, don't know what's going on in the world, because that makes you more interesting, right? You should know what's going on in the world. But let's be real. Does it really matter what's going on with the Kardashians right now? What happens in their life doesn't dramatically impact mine, but how many people are more obsessed with the Kardashians? Don't be so obsessed with them. Be obsessed with your own reality TV program called Your Own Life. How about the news? All the time they're trying to distract us. Before it was Obama, now it's Trump. Trump's going crazy today. Obama was nuts about this. Healthcare, Iraq, Iran, North Korea, right? Like all these things. And most of these things don't impact our own lives. I'm not saying don't know about them, but it's such a convenient escape from the work. It's such a convenient escape from our obsessions.
You talk about people dying from disease. Look, people die from negativity every day. You have been negative. You know why? Because the number one dominating force on planet Earth is the media. The media, 800 TV channels spew negativity onto the American public and every other country on planet Earth. They just puke it on you. Oh, but I watch Fox. Good. They puke at Fox and they do at MSNBC. It's just you're in agreement with the puke. I got some conservative puke, I got some liberal puke, and you got Stossel in the middle. He's like, okay, I'm just a independent puker. Dude, puke is puke.
The left against the right, Republicans against Democrats. Who's going to be the next president? Who's going to get the Democratic nomination? Can they beat Trump, right? Who cares? Who cares right now? You got to win in your own life. It's like, when I say this, people say, well, that's not, a very professional, evolved opinion. I'm just telling you what it takes to win. What it takes to win is not worrying about all that stuff. That should be the background noise. But talking about it, thinking about it, watching TV about it. Who cares what's going on in the real whatevers of anywhere? Who cares what the Kardashians are doing? Who cares who's running for office right now? You say, well, wait a minute. Aren't you socially conscious? Here's all I know. I've been alive through many different presidents, Republican and Democrat. None of them changed my life. None of them did. And none of them are going to change your life if we're being real. I think grassroots movements of good people and communities change the world. I don't think politicians change the world. If you think about it, the majority of people obsessed with politics have, I'm just meaning this nicely, they don't have much going on in their own life. So it's a convenient distraction to be mad at a politician because you're losing. It's a convenient distraction to get caught up in some issue outside of yourself, so you don't have to focus on your own life. If you can spend enough time obsessing about what these politicians or reality stars do, no one will look at you. But eventually in your life, you're faced with you. Eventually in your life, it's you. Eventually it's your life. Eventually they won't be on TV. Eventually it'll all be gone. Remember how obsessed you were with President Obama, whether you loved him or hated him? He's gone now. So getting obsessed with these things doesn't matter. Men, so many of you obsessed with sports. You're fans of these teams. Did it really change your life when the Patriots won the Super Bowl? Like, if you're a Patriot fan, on Saturday they hadn't yet won. On Sunday night they won. How different was your life? Tom Brady's life was different. Yours wasn't. You Laker fans or basketball fans, does it really matter? Like, if your team wins, does it really matter? I got news for you guys. You don't play for the team. You don't. I know you think you do. I know you wear their jerseys. I think it's one of the funniest things in life, and I don't mean this critically. Please, I mean this as a brother, guys. But you running around wearing a jersey with an other grown man's name on the back of it. Isn't that a little bit ridiculous? But really, a grown-ass man, you're wearing the name of another man on the back of your jersey every single day. Literally, your name isn't Bryant or James or Trout or Brady, but you wear their name on the back of you? Isn't that a little bit odd? We won Sunday. No, we didn't win. They won. You got to go back to work on Monday. You don't play for that team. And it's time you wake up and start getting focused on your own life. I'm not saying don't watch the game, but being obsessed with it throughout the week. Who's injured? Who's hurt? Are we going to win? We aren't doing anything because you don't play for them. In fact, players trade teams so much. What you really are rooting for is like laundry. You root for the team that has like this jersey that's your color, but the players change all the time. Yet you keep rooting for these teams. What a catastrophic. I go to enjoy the game once in a while and how great they are as athletes, but what a catastrophic waste of your own life to be worrying about what professional athletes do and pretending to be on their team. You're not on the team. You don't win or lose. They do, right? They do. So wake up and get focused on your own goals. It might be some author you love. It might be something like that for men or women. For women, some of you it's sports as well. But the fact of the matter is all of these things are a distraction from our own lives. You don't play for these teams. You're not on these shows and you don't know these people. And whoever wins a Grammy or an Oscar doesn't change your life. You winning in your life is what changes it. So tune out the distractions, will you please? Turn your TV off. Get focused in your own life. Invest those hours on podcasts like this that actually impact your life. Invest it on someone's social media like mine who's actually putting out messages about your life. And guess what the people at the top of everything have in common? They're obsessed on their own lives, not other people's. Those athletes you admire didn't get there by worrying about your life, did they? And so tune out the distractions in our lives. Turn the TV off. Get some perspective. Get obsessed. Because we do it because it's an escape, because we don't have to look at ourselves. I'm challenging you to look at yourself. So what I'm telling you is CNN, ESPN, Fox News, right? The E! Channel, they're out to take you from your dreams. They're part of the enemy of stealing your dreams because they had just, not consciously, but they take your time. They divert your focus.
I used to start the day reading the morning newspaper. I mean, you can believe that or not. I'd get a cup of coffee and read the paper. I'd load up on wars and riots and murders and stabbings and killings and car wrecks and tragedies. I'd load up on all that, and then I'd start the day. You can imagine the kind of days I used to have. You walk around on your financial knees. They call you economic peewee.
What other things divert our focus? The things in life that don't matter, our own negative thoughts, our own insecurities, our own weaknesses, these distract us. Failure distracts us. Gossiping of other people distracts us. Talking about other people, worrying about haters, getting caught up in things that don't matter in our life. Drugs and alcohol distract us. There's all these things. When you start to pile them into life, what's your distraction? Just be honest. Netflix, video games, gossip, haters, your problems. Are you distracted with things that don't matter in your life? There's all these things competing to get you to not be focused. How about your insecurities? How about your fears? How about your worries or your problems? Are you using all of these? Do you your relationship issues, does it distract you from your big goals? Do you let these things, do you almost willingly do it? Here's what I think. Most of us are willing participants in our own distraction. And we need to be willing participants in our own focus, in our own obsessions, and getting ourselves back on plan. Because remember what I told you, if you're really obsessed, the obsession will distract you from these things. But if you're not obsessed, these things will distract you from that thing.
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Drop it. Drop it. That applies to every offense that you've been carrying. Drop it. That applies to every empty net that's in your life where you've been failing and carrying the failure around, of fishing all night and catching nothing, and what you did last week, and even the fight that you had before you clicked on this YouTube video. Drop that. Drop that. Sometimes we don't drop the net because we're so busy, we're so caught up in the discouragement. You know, it's really hard to drop the net when you're drowning in disappointment.
I think so often we live our life wanting to share a great story that many times we miss out on living a great story.
When you wake up in the morning, don't lie in bed and think of everything wrong with you. Instead of focusing on what's wrong with you, start focusing on what's right with you.
The point of change. What's the whole point? Why are we even talking about changes? Why do you even want to change? And just to really strip it down and make it crystal clear today, the point of change is to grow.
Too many people go through life against themselves, feeling wrong on the inside. I heard someone say, I discovered the enemy, it was me. Are you your enemy? Are you defeating yourself, limiting your dreams, sabotaging your relationships, all because you don't like you? You have enough people and circumstances against you. Don't be against yourself.
When people talk to me about a mindset, they're talking about a way of thinking. And trust me, you have a mindset right now, just like I have a mindset. It's how we view life. I know people with a negative mindset, which basically they view everything in a negative way. I know people with a positive mindset, which means they view everything in a positive way. People with an abundance mindset, a scarcity mindset. It's a way of thinking.
The point of change is to improve. The question is, are you growing? Are you getting better? Have you missed the whole point? See, some of us, the reason why we don't change, the reason why we don't grow is because we miss the whole point of it, and we try to stay the same, and we try to fight to keep everything exactly how it used to be, and we want to project a great life, but we don't actually want to focus on living an actually great life.
The question is, how did we get there? How did we get that mindset? Through practice and habits. You see, the things I do today determines the habits I have tomorrow, which determines the mindset that I have for life. So go back to what you do daily and ask yourself, what kind of a mindset am I developing today?
Stop introducing yourself to the next season of your life with the resume of your regrets from the last one. Leave that out. Leave it out.
That's why some of you right now, you don't understand, but the people you're hanging out with, it's not that they're bad people, it's that those people are not gonna help you grow. And you're missing the point. You're hanging on to old relationships that unless you release those people, you're never gonna step into all that God has for you.
The best thing you can do for your family, for your friends, is be good to you. Be kind to you. Be merciful to you. You're good to others. Why aren't you good to you? You don't criticize your friend. Why are you criticizing you? You compliment your coworker. When's the last time you complimented yourself? You admire their talent. Why don't you admire your talent? Start being good to you. That's not being selfish. That's not arrogant. That's loving yourself.
All of us are basically the same. The only difference between the haves and the have-nots are their habits. Habits are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. You need to write that down. If you change your habits, that's why you want to be in a community of collaborative, achievement-driven relationships. You want to be in a community with somebody who's been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt, who's on the level where you would like to be and go beyond. All of us are the same. I like to make it simple. All of us are the same. The only difference between you and your family members, you and your friends, are your habits.
The most important relationship you have is the relationship with yourself. Too many people don't like who they are. They focus on their faults and weaknesses. They relive their mistakes and failures. They wish they were different. If they were taller, had a better personality, looked like their cousin, they're critical toward themselves. And they wonder why they're not happy, why they don't have good relationships. It's because they don't like themselves. If you don't get along with you, you're not going to get along with other people.
What is the better life? It's the step up above the good life. There's the good life, but then there's the better life. The only problem with the good life is the good life's not good enough. You were made for far more. You were made for more than the good life. You were made for the better life. How can I live fear-free today? And why? Why can I now live fearlessly? Fear is based on ignorance. Fear is based on lies. When you know the truth, it sets you free from fears. Fears, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real.
Potential is like milk. If you drink it and pour it out in time, it can be provision. It does a body good if you drink it in time. But if you let it get past that date that was put on the jug, that's why some of us are miserable. Because of unlived potential that's been sitting in the jug, sitting on the shelf. I'm afraid to fail, so I won't try. And now my potential has become poisonous, and I'm miserable because I'm not living my potential. I gotta forget about the past. My potential is not back there. And straining toward what's ahead, I gotta persevere. My potential won't come to pass if I play with it. I can't strike 3 times. I gotta strain towards something. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God.
You may have weaknesses. You've made mistakes. We all have. But there's a lot more right with you than there is wrong with you. Dwelling on the negative doesn't help you to do better. Beating yourself up for past mistakes doesn't move you forward. The better you feel about yourself, the better you'll do. The more you like yourself, the further you'll go. You can't give away what you don't have. If you don't forgive yourself, you won't forgive others. If you don't get along with you, how can you get along with your family? The best thing you can do is start being for you. When you're kind to yourself, then you can be kind to others. It starts with you.
I think so many of us, we get so confused when it comes to change. Keep believing that, you know what, I'm gonna change, but I'm gonna start tomorrow. Isn't it funny? Yesterday you said today. Last year, remember last year? But last year you said this year. The good news is at hand. I don't know what you need to change. I'm gonna keep preaching each week. I don't know what you need to change. Lose weight! Start the job! Quit the job! Write the book, for heaven's sake! Start the business! Be content! Stop complaining! I don't know what you need to do. All I know is you need to start today!
I do show this very simple concept. It's a very simple concept. If you want it, you gotta go get it. It's time to stay focused. Why are you so antisocial? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you staying on the basketball court so much? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you out there practicing in the hot sun when ain't nobody else out there? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you not clubbing? Like every time I text you and invite you to go do something fun and cool, you always studying. Because I'm trying to get it. The more weird you are is a reflection of how committed you are to focusing on your molding and shaping and ideas and your craft so that when it's time for you to make your rounds, you're gonna fly.
This suffering, this sacrifice you're making is an indicator of progress. It's an indicator of obsession. It's an indication of progress towards our dreams. The price you will pay for not making your dream come true is far greater than the one that you will pay to make it come true.
You still got work to do. Stay on that basketball court. Stay on that football field. All the homies texting and calling and trying to make you feel bad about being so focused. It's grind season, homie. It's not about today. It's about the future. You do the work now. And all of the shit that you could ever want to do for your family, your kids, your loved ones, it's all going to be on a whole nother stratosphere.
If people are impeding your development, you sacrifice your relationship with them. It's a very, very rough rule.
If giving him a piece of your mind hadn't worked in the first 15 years, wouldn't it be a good time now to change strategies?
I don't want to be enabled in my brokenness. I'm looking for some friends who will empower me. Empower me to think bigger. Empower me to get a new vision. Empower me to get back up. I am not a victim, I'm a victor. And my present situation does not define my potential destination. Life doesn't happen to me, life happens for me. I'm gonna keep on moving forward so you can save your sympathy. I don't need your sympathy. What I need is your strength. What I need is you to sharpen me. I'm not a victim, I'm more than a conqueror.
What we should do when somebody does us wrong, forgive them and let it drop. Leave it and let it go.
Why are we loyal to ineffectiveness? When people can walk away from you, let them walk. When people can walk away from you, let them walk.
So impose on yourself this self-development of being in charge, taking charge of your life and your health and your future and your responsibilities and all the rest. Take charge of your health. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not a requirement of society that you not have a heart attack to take care of your family. That's not a requirement of society, but you must make it a requirement of yourself. Reasonable time is enough time to achieve all of your goals. Just jot that down. Reasonable time is enough time. Here's why. It's not the hours you put in, it's what you put in the hours. The ideas you can't think of now, a year from now, they'll start to flow. And when you deposit those ideas in the hours you've got, productivity multiplies by 2, 3, 5, 10.
I don't want you to try to talk another person into staying with you, loving you, calling you, caring about you, coming to see you, staying attached to you. I mean, hang up the phone. When people can walk away from you, let them walk. Tears and struggles and pain, and you show up and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances.
The ability to learn to say no and not to feel guilty about it, to me, is about the greatest success I have achieved. It's all a part of a process for growing for me. To me, to have the kind of internal strength and internal courage it takes to say, no, I will not let you treat me this way, is what success is all about. I will not be treated this way. I demand only the best for myself.
Maybe somebody's talking about you, trying to make you look bad. You could easily be upset, offended, try to pay them back. Why don't you try a different approach? Drop it, leave it, and let it go. It's easy to get bitter, hold a grudge, lose your passion. Kiss the person that left you goodbye. Kiss the dream that didn't work out goodbye. God wouldn't have allowed it to happen if He didn't have something better up in front of you.
So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life.
You literally are your surroundings. If you have a problem with your life, you should have a problem with the people in your life. You're going left, and they're going right. You're going right, and then they go left.
Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision.
The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if you weren't a threat. Oh, get ready. Favor is about to turn things around. Favor is not going to keep you from the storm, but favor will bring you out of the storm.
What do you do when you tried and failed and you want to quit and you want to give up? Sometimes you can be blessed and be unhappy because even though things are going right, they're not going according to what you had believed and expected, and you know that something is missing out of your life.
Discouragement is born when we compare ourselves with somebody else. Just think about where I came from. Just think about what God started me out as and where I am today. And it's encouraging to not compare yourself with others, but to remember how far you've come and where you started.
It's never too late to begin again. No matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you, it is never too late to press into a new beginning.
In life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
Other than death, all failure is psychological. It does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed.
I'm tired of doing what I used to do. If I always do what I've always done, I'll always be where I've always been. I'm going to throw it behind me.
Letting go of what lies behind. We've all got a past. Thank God we've all got a future. Don't you believe that lie that it's too late for you. Refuse to be trapped in the past.
You can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
I fought a good fight. I fought for my kids, and I fought for what was right. And I fought for my good health. And I fought for a good career that would bless my family. I fought a good fight. The encroachment. Opposites are in conflict, and we're in the middle. And if you want something valuable, you got to fight for it.
You can start heading in the right direction by having a brand new attitude toward life. You're hurting yourself if you're living an isolated, lonely life and living in fear of ever being involved with anybody. But you know, you really only have two choices. You can live your life disappointed, or you can have a new beginning. That's our only option.
So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you. That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing.
There are people and opportunities that were ordained for your past that are not ordained for your future. They were right for a season, but that season can come to an end.
Not only have I fought a good fight, I fought a good fight and I kept the faith. See, that's the deal. Keep faith with your family. Fight like crazy and keep faith. Fight the enemy and keep faith.
You have comeback power. When something happens to you, don't buy into what has happened to you. Buy into, I'm getting up out of here. I'm going to change this situation. This does not work for me, and I don't have the luxury of being depressed. I need to clear my head.
But right now, you're being tried. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test. Don't fail the test.
So why not just go for it? After all, it hasn't hurt you so far. Of course, the reality isn't quite that simple, but it's not as simple either as thinking that just because you're older, things are now going in the opposite direction, and that while you used to want to do everything, you should now want to do nothing. No, reality is by no means that simple either. There's a saying that I heard in church. That saying was, you have to lose your life in order to find it.
Separate what you do from who you are. That's what the guilt trap is about. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. There are a lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life.
Fight through the pain and come out the other side stronger and better. A survivor, a winner, victorious, free from that storm.
An enterprising person is one who sees opportunity in all areas of life. To be aware, to face life with your eyes and ears open to the possibilities that may be just around the corner.
What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points?
Understanding your self-worth, how valuable you are.
Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Your story doesn't end in the night. The night is temporary. Don't get discouraged. It's just a night season. It's not permanent. It's not how your story ends. You may not see anything happening. Keep moving forward in faith. Keep believing. It's just a matter of time before the morning breaks forth.
You got to clear your head so that the decision that you make represents the best in you. Be still and know that you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. You got to assure yourself. You have to encourage yourself. You have to clear your mind.
You have a great life in front of you, but your great life is in front of you. It's not behind you. What you did back there ain't got nothing to do with what God got for you. What you did back there was learn the lessons to get you to where you are at this particular moment right here.
Let's say you're miserable and unhappy. Here's a cure. Find what's valuable and let it go. So we could say, well, maybe it's a relationship that you have. Maybe it's a relationship with your parents. And the relationship is pathological, but you're locked into it. You value it. And no wonder, because it's a relationship with your parents. And you're suffering terribly because of it. Well, what do? Maybe you let it go. It's a sacrifice. And the idea is that, well, that'll clear the future for you.
If you have enough reasons, you can do the most incredible things. Here's what you might be lacking: a long enough list of reasons. Reasons that drive you, reasons that get you up a little extra early, reasons that keep you up a little extra late. Reasons. That's what makes the difference. What could you do if you had all the skills, took the classes, read the books? What could you do? What true value could you develop? Once you start understanding how valuable you are, it's a whole new experience. If we don't feel good about ourselves, we won't feel good about our lives. And if we don't feel good about our lives, we won't be very interested in looking for opportunities.
An area of life that matters clearly to all of us is time. And most people have very little mastery of this. I don't mean checking things off your list. I mean squeezing out of your life what matters to you most.
Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination. Find some trusted critics on where we are falling short and tell us about our blind spots. We want to have everything being positive about us. We're not perfect.
Success isn't in the having. Success is in the doing. It's the process of doing that brings value. It's the activity that transforms our dreams into reality, that converts ideas into actuality.
Begin to stimulate some possibilities in your mind on how you can resolve the problem. We can't grow by ourselves. As I mentioned before, we grow from people and projects.
It's going to take all the non-cognitive skills. All the non-cognitive skills to be great. You know, smart is good, all this stuff is good. That's all cognitive.
How many people in your immediate environment, those people who are in your sacred circle, represent people who are on the same mission as you? Or do you have a bunch of people on your list who are not on the same mission as you, and those individuals are pulling you down?
So one of the very best ways that you can develop the discipline of clear thinking is to sit in solitude for 30 to 60 minutes when you have a major problem or a major issue in your life.
You've got to show up when everyone is behind you. And you've got to show up when it feels like everyone is against you. You've got to show up when you feel like you're winning. And you've got to show up when you feel like you're losing it's your time. And it's your turn, but you're going to have to be willing to. Endure the temporary struggle, you're going to have to be willing to. Deal with the negative chatter in your head because it's not going away. You gotta manage it, you gotta confront your fears, you gotta confront your doubts. Success is not going to be handed to you, nobody owes you anything. But you owe everything, you owe it to yourself to hang in there. When it gets hard, you owe it to yourself to get up every day and grind.
It's the non-cognitive skills that set you apart from everybody else. And that's what it's all about.
Talk to me about what it takes to be on one side of a door in Iraq or anywhere, knowing on the other side of the door people who are not afraid of you. They're ready for you to come in, and and they have guns, and you still have to breach that door.
That's a great question. That's a very scary situation when you are on one side of the door and your mind is racing, because on the other side of that door, it could be no one. It could be 4 guys with 4 AK-47s. That door you're about to open could be booby-trapped. So once you open it, boom, your legs are gone. So there's 1,000 things you think about when you're the first guy, second guy, third guy.
E.T., how do you do what you do? I have cut off the people who are not on the same mission with me, and yes, they are very upset, and yes, they said some nasty things about me, but guess what? I cut them off anyway, and I've surrounded myself with people who have the same values, who have the same mindset, and people who want to accomplish what I want to accomplish. It says every day in Africa, in the safari, a lion wakes up. Every single day in the safari, a lion wakes up, right? And every single day in the safari, a gazelle wakes up. I love it. I love it. It says, though, here's what's funny. It says that if you wake up and you're a gazelle, you realize if you're going to survive as a gazelle, if you're going to survive, you must outrun the slowest gazelle. Right? In your mind, you're thinking you got to outrun the fastest lion. That's not the truth. You just got to stay ahead of the slow gazelle. That's it. Right? So every single day when you wake up, whatever it is that you do professionally, you better make sure you're not in the back of the pack. You better be as close to the front.
You don't have time to focus on what other people are saying. You don't have time to focus on what other people Doing experiencing a failure feels like a loss. It's not failure as your teacher is working for you behind the scenes, preparing you for your next win. There is no time like the present to fight for what belongs to your toughest moments are preparing you for your biggest victories. Go after what you want, and expect to get it when you are serious about hitting your goals. You don't quit when it gets harder. I don't care how many times you've tried. Try again, I don't care how many times you've heard no. Ask again, I don't care how many times. You fall, get up, you don't stop.
Getting ready to go in a room and flood it. And that's why I talk about the warrior mentality. And that's why so many people are lost when I start talking. You have the right. You're lucky that you don't have to think like warriors think. You're very privileged. I chose this world to be a warrior. And I would choose it again if I came back to this world. But the mentality of a warrior is very different than normal mentality. You must be that person on that door, get ready to open it, thinking to yourself, if I die, so be it. The only way you can go in that door is knowing there's a great chance you're going to die. It's like being a SEAL. You train with live ammo. You jump out of an airplane. Everything you do, you could die. So to be a warrior, why people don't understand me, I'm glad you don't understand me. Merry Christmas. Good on you.
Solitude has been discovered and rediscovered throughout all the history of man as the most powerful of all thinking tools. You see, if you can imagine a bucket of water with silt in it and it's all churned up and you can't see anything, but if you leave the bucket of water to sit for a while, all the silt will drop to the bottom and the water will become perfectly clear. This is what happens for you in solitude. If you sit calmly by yourself with no noise, no distractions, nothing to read, just sit quietly, which takes tremendous discipline the first few times you do it, at about 25 or 26 minutes your mind goes clear. And any problem that you've been working on, the solution just pops into your mind. Any issue that you've been dealing with, the answer just comes to you. It's almost like a miracle. The good skier is 2 or 3 times as productive because he or she is better at the key task. So say, what's the most important thing I do? And get better at it. It's the most amazing thing. I gave a talk yesterday for business people, and I can speak for 8 hours. I often do full-day seminars. I had 12 minutes. So what I did is I took a whole series of ideas and I condensed them around 3 key ideas and 3 graphs, and did the whole thing in about 12 minutes. And they said it was one of the best talks they had ever given, because they just pick up the pace. They go really, really fast and cover the most important points. In your business, say, if I was really, really good at prospecting, well, then I would have far more better people to speak to. So therefore, I'm going to get really, really good at prospecting. Now, another way that you can get more done faster is to work with other people, is to do things together. When you practice solitude, you actually activate your superconscious mind and your intuition. And something that you've been having trouble with or wrestling with suddenly becomes clear and you know exactly what to do. Now here's the wonderful thing about solitude. Everybody who practices it will tell you it's incredible. And if you've never done it before, just practice it once. Sometime today, take 25, 30 minutes, take an hour if you can, and just sit quietly by yourself and allow your mind to calm. Sometimes it's called mind calming. And just allow yourself to calm down and think. And the most amazing things will happen. You'll start to make better decisions. You'll start to hear what is called the still small voice within. And this still small voice sometimes will shout at you so loudly you will be amazed. Now here's another way to think better. When you're dealing with any kind of a situation, write down every detail of the problem or situation. Take a sheet of paper, and the rule is think on paper, and write down every detail. How it happened, what's going on, the problems, the concerns, the cost, who's involved. Just write it down, write it down, write it down.
When you get frustrated, you pursue for as long as it takes. So I have a question for you. Are you disciplined enough to keep going? Music. Can I tell you something? You ain't met the real you. Until you have to use your power, that's the real you. Many of you are like a superhero. Truth, we told you ought to rejoice, because you have love, power, joy, power, faith, power. You also have comeback power. What is comeback power? Comeback power is the ability to overcome any obstacle, challenge, or difficulty. You have this innate ability, this instinct on the inside. Come back from. Anything your human side quits everything quickly.
Get people who cooperate. For instance, sometimes I will sign 100 books, but when I've agreed with a client that I'll autograph 100 books, then I have two people, my staff members. One sits on one side and they open the book forward, open to the signature page. And I quickly sign it and shove it to my right, and there's a second person there that takes the book and packs it. And so it goes bang, 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 bang. I can get through 100 books in 10 minutes. Whereas if I did it myself, it would take me half an hour. So sometimes you can work with others. Another thing we talked about is bunch your tasks. Bunching your tasks means do a lot of, again, like signing books, sign all 100 books at once. Do all of your letters or proposals at once. Do all of your prospecting at once. Bunch your tasks. And another thing that you can do, and one of the greatest of all time savers, is to downsize, outsource, delegate, and eliminate low-value tasks.
You start relationship on Monday, and did you quit it by Wednesday because y'all miscommunicate because you miss one text, and it's over. That's your human side. But then you've got this other side that can come back from anything. There's a part of you that don't throw in towers. There's a party that never says die. There's a part of you that refuses to quit. There's a part of you that is long-suffering. There's a part of you that, when you get down for the count, they count up to 8, they can count to 9. But 10, you are back on your feet. There's a part of you that no matter what comes your way, you just got to bounce back up. You can't stay down.